We
Welcome
get
to another
booted.
episode of Charlie and the Boys. I am your host, Steven Chalicom, and you can follow me and the show on Twitter at CharlieATB, which I will start ramping up actually this week now that there's a little bit relevant, more content, at least for myself, and easier to just spread it out there. Joined with me, thankfully, again tonight for another episode in a row are both of the co-hosts, Wilma and Stash. I got nothing new there.
Josephina.
Josephina, yeah, sure, there you go. I
Josephina.
fucking panicked. Gentlemen, again, as we mentioned in another video, it is week one. We are here. There's a game tomorrow night. Dallas plays in 4 days, Sunday Night Football. Um, how pumped up are you? We made it.
It's here.
Don't
Yeah.
sound too excited.
Let's go.
You guys are fucking
Let's
dead inside,
go.
man. Okay.
You don't ever give us enough time to talk. Answer. Too fast.
You're on the clock, man.
True.
Anyway, okay, so this is our first ever game preview. We started this kind of podcast gig in the off season, so this is going to be kind of new for us. We are going to kind of wing it and hopefully just improve this as the weeks go on with more solidified content. So bear with us, but we're going to give the best shot that we can. So with that being said, we are going to start off with a little bit more of a Dallas-oriented, what we think they're going to do, what we think they shouldn't do, whatever type deal, and then switch over to Tampa, blah, blah, blah. So with that being said, again, Will, Dallas's point of attack, what is going to be the ideal situation for Dallas to go in, win this game, Vice, what do you think will actually happen if that's different?
Uh, I think they got to run the ball. I don't think they have too much of a chance of winning if they can't run the ball.
Okay.
I don't mean to sound pathetic and like I don't have much to say, but
Pathetic.
if they can't run the ball, I don't
So how,
I don't see them winning a shootout.
So how do you actually see that happening with the questions we essentially have on the left side of the line? Do you see Dallas just running away from that side of the line, or do you think there's just going to be some more outside zone to just try and get outside of the line, obviously, or what?
I mean, I don't think that they can run away from Tyler Smith. I think they need to run behind Tyler Smith.
Okay, yeah, that's
I think they got to use his strengths to their advantage, at least
Sure.
early. You know what I mean? And just go from there. And it may have to just be a lot of trickery, some reverses. You know what I mean? Sweeps. A bunch of garbage nonsense to make it happen. But crook.
Yeah,
Got to crook it.
yeah, got to win the game. Who cares how it happens? I guess, right? Um, what about you, Sash? Do you feel pretty much the same way? Do you think Dallas just needs to run the ball 40 times, or what are you feeling
I
over
think
there?
even, we'll get into it a little bit later in the specific matchups, like who's going to take the weaknesses against strengths. They need to figure out a way to give Dak Prescott time to work his magic. They need to protect Dak at all costs,
Okay.
whether that be running the ball more, throwing it. Just they need to. He's your best player on offense, so you need to figure out a way to keep the ball in his hands and give him time to work.
Okay. Um, so what do you think about the opposite, right? Like, so we briefly discussed Dallas's point of attack, or at least point of attack, and what we need to do to keep Dak upright. What do you think their weakness is? We already briefly mentioned the offensive line, but there's got to be something else out there. I would think.
Dallas's weaknesses?
Yeah.
I mean, offensive line, and I don't know if it's a weakness, but it's a big question mark. Is we've talked about it in prior podcasts. Is wide receiver position. Don't know what we're getting. I mean, we've known what we've seen years ago and the past couple of years what this offense looks like without Amari Cooper on the field, and it's not very good.
Okay.
So, and we're gonna get more of a taste of that this year, obviously. So, we need to see what they can do without Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree, especially for Dak, and that's actually something we've mentioned, and I know, Stash, you have definitely mentioned several times on other episodes, is we saw Dak prior to Amari Cooper. Then we obviously saw several years of Dak with Amari Cooper. Now we're going back to the not necessarily so exciting Dak Prescott without Amari Cooper. So yeah, what is that going to look like, right? Like, is it going to be fine with CeeDee Lamb there, but then you don't really have a real number two yet, at least, right? So yeah, I think there's a lot behind that, not having Amari Cooper and what Dak's going to be able to produce without that. I think it'll be worked out, but it just what we've seen with history, there has not been very good without Amari Cooper. Um, so I suppose with that being said, what do you think are some of the best or unfavorable even matchups to watch, at least from a Dallas offensive point of view?
Like, you mean their weaknesses?
Whether you want to point out a weakness or, again, a favorable matchup, right? Like, if whatever you want to say is favorable or unfavorable, hit us with it.
Well, favorable, my guess is
Like a match. So maybe I should say it this way. Sorry to cut you off.
Tight ends in the middle of the field.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say a matchup that could dictate the outcome.
So it's tough. Like, when your offensive line is no good, right? You obviously guys got to get open early, fast, and in my opinion, that's not something Dak is the best at. I think delivering the ball on time. Like, my guess is all of the Cowboys receivers can get open on like an 8 and in, or 10 and in type of deal. But Dak doesn't always lead the receiver, and that's a problem. Originally, I mean, I would say that, okay, we got to find a way to get the ball deep at least a couple times in the game. But how are they going to do that if they don't have an offensive line? Right? So they won't be able to do that. So the other option would be you got to be able to hit these guys. Like, he's got to be able to hit Lamb, a couple times in the game on like an 12-yard route, and he's able to get 20, 30 yards on it.
Yeah, extend. Yeah,
but the only way that happens is if he leads him on it, or for some reason the dude falls down and he just catches it and runs.
Okay.
So that would be, I guess that's both ends of my mouth talking.
I got you. I mean, yeah, I agree with everything you say, especially hitting him in the middle of the field with even more specifically a tight end. Sash, did you have something out there? It looked like you might have been trying to raise your hand or something. I don't know. Or having a
No, I mean, I was my first thing was Dalton Schultz and the tight ends. Just to add on to that, too, I don't think it's going to be CeeDee Lamb this game. I think if you're going to punish them, it's going to be with Schultz, Pollard out of the backfield. Maybe if they can figure out something with Turpin, you got to get these speed and agility guys the ball in space. And if they can figure out a way to do that, they're going to punish Tampa, because I think they're really weak. Their weakness is their linebacker core and things like that. So.
Agreed. And so we'll just take that and actually we'll flip this into Tampa a little bit, and I'll run with this, and you guys obviously tell me if I'm wrong or you feel different. But you led into it, I think, perfectly, Sash, right? Like, so their defensive line is extremely strong. However, their linebacking core is extremely weak. So I think the way you guys have already mentioned, their linebacking core is the weakest spot of the defense. And the way you take advantage of that is you hit them with a tight end right over the fucking middle, over and over and over again. I'm not saying a 5 and in, but you just keep attacking that area of weakness. And I think that's also probably an extremely good way to avoid the weakness of the Dallas offensive line, is you just immediately go over the offensive line with those quick passes, as you guys already briefly mentioned. At least that's what I would kind of expect, is you attack the middle of the field as Dallas.
Well, too, I don't even think they need to even attack the middle of the field just with the ball specifically, but you need to attack the linebackers by putting out a lot of movement with wide receivers, running backs, get them confused.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to throw the ball in the middle of the field if you got movement around them, and make them make a decision so that it make your decision easier. Like, oh, he's going this way, so look at this. You just got to make your life, because your offensive line is going to be more than likely, we think, struggling against Tampa's front four. Is you need to, and as Will said, you need to get the ball out quick. You need to give Dak the easiest decisions possible, which means
Yeah.
you get to have some movement going between motion to let him figure out what the defense is doing.
Agreed. I guess that was quick. So where do you we'll pass this one to you. So where do you think Tampa is going to try to hit Dallas's defense? How do you think Dallas defense loses this game? Or if they were to lose, I should say rather. How do you think that happens?
Uh, I mean, I think Cowboys are going to win. So it's hard for me to do that or
Okay.
but if there is a way for the Cowboys to lose the game, it's going to be Tampa Bay's offensive line holds up just enough to where they can get the ball down the field, and they don't necessarily have to connect on big plays, but it just takes a couple where the refs are just like, that looks like a pass interference right there. A nice 3rd and 11 pass, 20 yards down the field. Anthony Brown just doesn't happen or turn around,
Could
or
be an Anthony Brown game.
Whatever. Yeah, and then that just keeps the defense on the field. I think if they can keep, because I don't think they're going to be able to run. I already said that with Bohana. In our last show. Just in general, I think they're going to. I mean, Leonard Fournette has never been good as far as I'm concerned. He hasn't been good since he came out of college. So
true. Yeah, well, he just hasn't
so
been
that's
healthy,
just
right? Even when he's
right.
been healthy,
Yeah.
he might as well be 60 years old.
So if they can't run the ball, and I really like the Cowboys corners and the pass rush getting to them, the only way is that they can hold up just enough time to be able to get the ball out far enough to get the penalties, which the Cowboys are good at. The Cowboys are very good at getting penalties.
Yeah.
Best in the league.
I would actually maybe not quite double down, but maybe reiterate what you're saying is I think this game will definitely come down to whoever's defensive line can win more consistently, more frequently, whatever it is, win stronger late. This is absolutely going to come down to whoever's defensive line can take over the game. Or defensive front, maybe we should say, right? Because you throw the linebackers in there. So I think you're
Fair.
definitely right in that sense. Okay. Anything you wanted to throw in there, Stash? I'm sure you're probably playing the same
I
tune we
think
are.
it's just something that's been an Achilles heel for Dallas for a while, and we think they've improved. They've looked better at it. They just need to see it in a real game. Can Dallas's defensive front hold up in the run game?
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah,
we're gonna find out.
Because if it can't, then this is not going to be a good game for Dallas.
Yeah. So I suppose that pretty much knocks out our defensive matchup we want to watch. Sounds like we all kind of saying the same thing. We really want to see that defensive front up against Tampa's front. Do you have any other defensive matchup you're really interested in seeing, or maybe even don't want to see because you know it's unfavorable? So Stash, go ahead. Looks like you're getting excited over there.
I've got one because I just want to see the rematch. Micah Parsons versus Tom Brady.
Okay.
That chess match there, because last year, it was Parsons' first ever game, and Tom made him look bad at a couple occasions. And granted, it was first game, and obviously Micah went on to be Defensive Rookie of the Year and almost Defensive Player of the Year. So I'd love to see that chess match again.
Sure. Yeah. Will, anything in addition before we move on to our bold takes and predictions for the game? Sorry, I struggled with the P word.
No, I think we got it covered. We got it covered.
Okay. All right. So Will, so then you lead us off. What is at least your first bold take for this Sunday's matchup?
Oh, we're supposed to have multiple?
Well, I mean, if you had no, I just wanted to do one, and if y'all had another one, we'll do another one, sure. But yeah, just give us one, or your first, or your only, whatever it is.
I got Noah Brown leading the team in catches.
Jesus Christ, here we go again. No fucking Brown. Stash, what about you, man?
I hinted to it in our previous episode. I got Brian Anger throwing a pass.
Do you think that's gonna happen week one?
In this game.
This game.
Nice.
So I have to, and I actually hate to ask this because when I think that's happening, I immediately associate that with desperation, right? Like, so do you think there's going to be a point of desperation for Dallas where they need to throw this pass, obviously, because you're not just doing that for fun. Do you obviously see this going south at some point and Anger saving Dallas?
I don't know if it's desperation. I think they might get into early on a field position game, and it might be one of those things where Tampa tries to maybe send too many people back to try to get a max return going, and they might catch them.
Okay, respect
Hmm.
it. Um, yours is maybe more. Yeah, yours is I guess more bold than mine. I thought I'd have the best one, but I guess not. So I have Jabril Cox is going to have multiple pass breakups, and he's going to lead the defense in tackles, total tackles. Um, and I think that's going to be because I think Tampa's going to try to attack the middle of the field, similar to what I said. I think Dallas should try to attack the middle of the field. Um, and I think Jabril Cox is just the dude that's going to be there. Hopefully, there's going to be
It's
somebody there.
healthy. Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna be there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fuck it. Let's just wrap it up there. You guys let us know what you guys think. Maybe how we can do this different, improve, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Hit us up. And we will.
What the fuck?
Yankees game bullshit. Nobody cares. It's baseball. Um, we'll try to do some sort of review of the game probably Monday or something like
Hold
that,
up.
but we'll let you guys know. Hit us
You're
up.
forgetting you're forgetting something.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna save you.
Oh, please do.
Predictions.
Oh,
Game
yeah.
prediction.
True. Will, prediction.
31-27
God. Okay.
Dallas.
31-27, just to clarify, that's what that was?
Dallas winning.
Okay. Stash.
24-17. Dallas.
Wow. So I'm surprised we're this different. So I'm gonna go 17-13 Dallas and it's just gonna be a defensive fucking game. I don't think either of these teams can really afford to get into a shootout. It's just maybe Tampa can afford to, but I don't think the Dallas defense is in any position to let that happen. So defensive game 17-13. Dallas wins.
Wow.
We
Okay.
out.